Hi, I'm Steve Shelburne, owner and operator of Shelburne RV here in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee. Good morning. Welcome back. So here in the shop this week, I'll show you what we got going on. We've got a Prevost bus down in LaBelle. It's got some ductwork issues. We're going to go down and he's saying the unit's actually got a little bit of a problem also. So we're going to go down there and pull that unit out and then double check on the ductwork, make sure it's going to work. I've got this other unit here in the shop that we're doing some repair work on. So let me turn this around. I'll show you what we got. All right, so there's the unit that you saw last week we pulled out. It's got eat up with cancer pretty good. All washed out, cleaned out. So just got to start fabricating some metal for that. And then here's the ductwork that I've got for the Prevost. This will go up against the floor right here. Of course, this is the filter, slides in right there. And then this will be the return. We'll have foam around this, and the unit will press up against the back of that, and then the ductwork on the back here will tie into this one right here. So that's what I'm kind of fabricating on at the moment. Back here on this 06 Prevost Country Coach build out. Now, we're going to be tearing out all the ductwork today. You can kind of see that it's kind of interesting because the original one discharged here, which you can see that's the original discharge, but the new one discharges here. Now, that actually goes across here. So we're going to cut a hole like we did in the 07 where this comes straight up, and it'll be a straight shot because it goes up the ceiling and across the top. But we're getting all this ripped out of here. I've got the new ductwork. That's the return going on the back, and that's going to be the air filter for the top. So we're working on getting this out of here now. See, we got the unit out, and this is kind of what we were dealing with on ductwork. Now again, you can see we've got that set in there. We do have to build the transition to go between there, but now we've got it with a filter, goes up through there. We are going to have to cut a hole. That 90 is right there. So that'll be straight shot, straight up in the ductwork. So got everything kind of laid out, built transition for that, and we're in good shape. All right, so this is the basement area I pulled out of the Winnebago the other day that was all rotted out. Went in here and reworked it. Now, the customer had stated that it had an outdoor fan problem, which it did. And then there was days where it would not cool correctly. Now, you can see it's about 19 degrees. But here's the problem I'm seeing right here. See how this one's got 3.15 and this one's got 592. I can tell you 20 minutes ago, those numbers were equal. Now that the compressor has gotten a little bit of heat on here, it has dropped down. Now you can see what my temperature was in heat pump mode, and I did that first because it's a little cool in the shop today, so I did that first. But the longer this compressor has run, the lower that amp draw has gotten. And I feel like the charge is correct, but we definitely have got that compressor has gotten hot and is having a problem. So more than likely we've got a compressor 1 problem with this one. I've always said in a lot of the other videos, amp draw and differential temperature really tells a big story. Now, initially when I ran this, all the numbers look good, but the longer it has run and the hotter that compressor has gotten, it obviously shows us that there's a failure in the compressor the hotter it gets, because we had great temps initially in heat, which tells me the charge is correct. So that compressor is failing, and when it's a hot day outside and it's having to work real hard. And the customer did tell me initially when he brought it in that it was not cooling correctly. And again, the front of that being blowed out definitely had something to do with it. But now that we've got a little further into it now, yes, the compressor does have a problem. So we're going to change that out with a new one and then retest. Back here on this 06, you saw last week we pulled this Auragen out. This is the one that we purchased from a gentleman down in LaBelle. His alternator was out. So we're in the process, going to get this wired up, and then we'll put this basement air back in, get all this pretty fascist stuff put back on there, all the plates and everything, where it looks all nice and clean. And then we're going to test this Auragen and see what happens. All All right, so we're back here on this 04. Now you saw that I had the Auragen out of this thing, and I picked one up in LaBelle out of another 04 that the rotor had failed in the back. I got the unit all back in. You can see this right here, but let's go look at this Auragen. You know, I picked this thing up because this guy's rotor was locked up, and so we thought we could use it, but let me show you something. This is the one that we took, this is the one we took out in LaBelle, and this is his original one. Now, it's kind of interesting that we talked to these folks and they say they've never had this issue before, but these come out of two separate buses, out of two separate locations in the United States, and they got the same exact daggum problem. So I'm not convinced. There's other issues there. Now, one thing else I'll show you, when this gentleman pulled up here, was backing up to the shop, God, there was an awful noise coming from this bus. Bearings out in that rotor. So fortunately, that's just a drive from the motor. These are just pulleys. So we just took that belt off. He actually found the guy. This is the generator for the house, not for the alternator. This is the alternator for the coach, but this is for the house. And yeah, he actually has a friend of his that just took one of those off his bus and had it rebuilt. So he's got one. So he's got to source that somewhere else. But we just took the belt off and did that. And then that's that Auragen rotor. That's what locked up on the other guy's unit. I'm not sure what's going on with that Auragen stuff. I mean, they claim they've never seen that before. I don't know why there's not a hole drilled in the bottom of that thing. And in fact, if I had ever got my hands on another one, I'd drill a hole in the bottom of it, because it's apparent that the condensation is more than just a little bit in that unit. And I don't know, you know, Country Coach used those for a while, and I think a lot of people have gotten away from them, and I can tell you I'm not impressed at the moment. So I don't know, if you got one of those Auragen boxes, you better go drill a daggum hole in the bottom of it and get the condensation out of it, because you're probably fixing to have problems. Morning, we're back here in LaBelle, Florida. I've got this 04 Prevost bus. We're doing all the new ductwork upgrade on. I've actually been working on it here a minute, but I'm gonna take you over here and show you kind of what we got and where we're at in the fabrication. So let's take a look. All right, so you can see I've got my ductwork laid out here. There's my return, there's my discharge, here's my return. And so basically what we've had to do is modify this for the return. This is where the air is going to come back from the air conditioner. It's going to come up. We're going to cut a hole on top of that for our return, and then this is our discharge. Now, I want to show you guys this, because this is really important that you see this, because so the original return came all the way over here, and the original unit discharged right here, but the new unit discharges over here. So we don't need to have 490s, which obstructs the way this air flows. So we've come in here, and we're going to put this piece right here. It's going to fit up in here, and we're going to tape all this and close this off. And then once that's all set and done, then we'll get the unit. I'm going to figure out where we're at on this and get that done. But that's where we're at now, just working on getting this discharge set. We got this one back in, and you can see now, instead of the discharge going over here, going up there, 90 again, and then going up the wall, we went in there and cut a hole in the ceiling, and now it goes straight up. Now the return turned out awesome, and you can see that's all pressed up against the back of it. And then this is a custom return I built. The filter goes right in right there. So yeah, so this one here is all finished up. So that was kind of the issue, was like, you know, a lot of people did the upgrades on those, and then, you know, every 90 is 10 feet. So there was literally 40 feet of extra line right there that was unneeded. And so now the airflow up in the living room, and of course the airflow in the bedroom has always been kind of tough, because those are where they've always struggled in my experience with them. So now that we got all that fixed, yeah, the airflow is awesome. So this one's all done. All right, so that's going to finish us up here, Shelburne RV. I've got a 99 model Prevost coming in next week that we're going to do we got to get both driver's and passenger side out. It's got some units in it I ain't never seen before. So we got to pull them out, build all new ductwork, and do an installation on that. So I'm going to have my hands full next week doing that. But yeah, so several of them we worked on, and so yeah, there you go. Trying to keep the videos going for you. Try to get that other one done next week where you can see that. But thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And you know, Cousin Gary ain't here, but if he was, he'd say this video's Cousin Gary proved. I appreciate y'all watching. Take care.